Hello everybody and welcome back to another installation of Angie Rants. Today we're talking about pride. First of all, I'm just going to start and be like, it's been a minute, I've been busy, I've been traveling a lot, both for work and for personal reasons, and I skipped a video last week, but I'm back on my best behavior, not worse, my best, and I'm here to talk to you about pride and what it does to us. Most of the time, I don't need anyone to get in my own way. It's my ego, it's my pride that actually stops me from being able to accomplish everything that I want to, or gets in the way of me just having peace. So today I'm just basically going to talk to you about three things to consider if you allow pride to get in your way. And hopefully thinking about these three things will allow you to kind of get your ego out of the way so that you can move forward. Because how's your ego going to be competing with all the haters that are trying to block you? That doesn't make any sense. The first piece of advice that I have as it relates to pride is do not allow pride to stop you from letting go or moving forward. Don't let your pride to stop you from letting go or moving forward. I will give an interesting example here. Just in the space of working, there was a situation I had with somebody that I worked with, and it just had always had like a sort of negative narrative for me. Like it was just always sort of negative. It was like things are fine, but I just had this perception of how that person thought of me and how I perceived that other person. And time went on and I realized that things actually were getting better between us. Like our dynamic was actually improving, but I was so married to this idea that there was a negative interaction between us. Like there was something like negative that had happened that I almost felt like I was doing myself like a disservice. Like I felt like I was doing something wrong to me if I allowed myself to make amends in that situation. And it was very interesting for me because when we finally kind of talked about it and confronted the history behind that relationship, I was like, yo, for so long, my pride didn't allow me to even bring up the things that were bothering me or even talk about the things that I thought were happening in our dynamic, because I was afraid of, one, the consequences, but mostly I was like, we don't do that. If something's wrong, that person needs to come to me. And you don't even realize you have that behavior. You don't even realize that you're actually just letting your pride tell you that you don't need to do certain steps because that's just the way it goes. And the truth is that you won't let yourself move on. You'll get in your own way of letting go of some negative idea of a person or a thing, because that just makes you feel like, yeah, and I take care of me and blah, blah, blah. Look, you gotta let that go. If you let your pride get in the way of you letting go of things that happened, you'll literally remain stuck being angry about things that don't matter anymore. And you'll actually look around you and say, oh my gosh, I've literally wasted my life being mad, being disappointed, being frustrated, holding a grudge because I thought that that's what I needed to do in the circumstances, because I didn't want to be the first person to go and say, hey, this bothered me. Not even an apology. I mean, obviously sometimes it involves an apology, but sometimes it literally just involves saying hey, I'm bothered by XYZ. Hey, I felt like when you said XYZ, this made me feel this way, or when you did XYZ, this made me feel that way. We don't even want to do that. That's an ego thing for so many of us. So the first thing for you to really do is do not let pride, don't allow pride to stop you from moving forward or from letting go of something that just doesn't need to exist. You better open up your mouth and speak, talk about what's bothering you, and move on. Period. Okay? So that's number one. The second piece of advice that I have as it relates to pride is stop conflating pride with respect. Different things, okay? So many of us, okay, we say, oh, I don't take that. I'm not about that bull. You don't talk to me no type of way. I don't allow people to do XYZ to me. I demand respect. I get respect from people who interact with me. I'm talking this way because I'm this way. I'm this way. Sometimes I feel like it's a situation that bothered me, and I'm ready to fight. I'm mad. I'm let's go. I'm not fearing having that conversation. I'm ready to have a conversation, but actually what the person said was maybe kind of too real, and it hit my pride. It hit that place where I think, oh, like I have this amazing skill set here, or oh, I've made a decision in XYZ place and I'm doing such a great job, and like the way that someone gave me a piece of feedback or criticism, it didn't hit me the right way, right? And I know that maybe the way that they said it was wrong, but what's behind it is correct, and it just hits my pride. That just boom, lights a spark that gets me buck, like I'm ready to fight. And we often take it into a place where we're like, I'm actually demanding respect from you. Listen, I'm these days I be preaching to myself because I'm thinking of multiple instances where I did this recently. Like the way someone says something just bothers me. Like it just would bother me to the point where I'm like, who do you literally think you're talking to? You can't be talking to me. So who is it? Who is it? But the truth is, it's like what you said struck some kind of chord in me, and instead of me explaining myself, because so much of the time it's like in my head about like who's right or wrong, but the truth is it's really not about that. It's like you could literally explain yourself. You could be in the right and just explain yourself. But the difficulty of doing that is just because of the pride that exists in your heart regarding a certain area. I do not blow up on every situation, but there are some things and some individuals, if you say it the wrong way, boom, spark, and let's go, okay? But the truth is, that's a pride issue. That's a pride issue. I don't want to hear it from you about XYZ thing. I don't want to hear you give me some piece of feedback about this thing in my life. And I have to get that into control. Otherwise, first of all, I'll allow my emotions to get the best of me. When pride now starts to take over my emotions, we've gotten into a very messy situation where I'm being controlled by my ego, period. And we don't need that, okay? Nobody needs that. Y'all don't need that from me. I don't need that for myself, to be honest with you. So you have to be conscious of how your pride is playing a role in the way that you interact with people, and you have to stop conflating the idea of pride with respect. You can demand respect, but you have to check yourself and realize when your pride is actually speaking for you, okay? But I need to get it together in terms of whether or not I'm able and willing to allow people to give me feedback, even if it's not given in the right way that I want to hear, that I'm able to parse through the intention of what they're saying and not allow pride to take over my emotions and make me this hothead that's always ready to fight people. That's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. Now, let me also clarify for you, I'm actually a lover, not a fighter. But if you hit me the wrong way, you might blow my fuse and something else happens. That's just a truth about me. The third piece of advice I have as it relates to pride is don't let your pride stop you from doing. Don't let your pride stop you from doing. Pride is really about a sense of pleasure that you have with a quality or a skill set that you have or someone else has. It's actually it's your ego. It's the thing that pumps you up, that makes you feel like, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. That part of yourself that's just feeling like, I'm into me. I'm into these qualities that I have. And sometimes that can be a positive and sometimes that can also be a negative. And sometimes the negative is that you're so proud of having a certain skill and being perceived in a certain way that people look at you and they think, XYZ, Olamide so, I don't know, poppin'. I don't know, Olamide so, I'm not sure, just on it with her, skills. And then you hold on to that idea and perception that you've gotten from other people, so much so that you won't do anything else that would possibly allow you to fail. You won't expand the skill set that you have. You won't try something new. You won't go outside of your comfort zone. You won't do what you're literally purposed to do. You won't move. You won't move outside of the pride box, the box where everybody knows that you already have a certain skill set and they commend you for it. You won't move outside of that because you like the feeling of your ego being stroked. We've all been there before, but if you stay stuck like that, you actually have nothing to be proud of at the end of the day. Are you still celebrating wins from 2010? Is that what you're doing? You got to move on. You got to move forward. You got to allow yourself to grow. You can't be stuck. Everybody knows a person who literally reminds them of who they were 17 years ago. There are things that you accomplished that we're proud of and we won't forget. Okay? We're happy that you accomplished them. They had an impact on people's lives. But is that it? Are you done? Once you do one thing, that is positive? Will you never do another positive thing again? Will you never grow outside of what you've already accomplished? Ask yourself that question. You don't want to stay celebrating yesterday's wins for the rest of your life. And I'm not talking about yesterday, I'm talking about years ago. You accomplished one thing and you just don't want to fail. You don't want to be seen outside of that view where everyone knew and everyone could recognize that you did a good job. But there's no growth in that. There's no purpose in that, because your purpose is not like I did one thing and it's done. Like, until you die, until your very last breath, you still have something to do on this earth, in this world. And it could relate to the thing that you've already done, and it could be something entirely new, but you can't allow your ego and your pride to stop you from figuring out what that thing is and going after it. Go after it. Those are my 3 pieces of advice as it relates to pride. If you're anything like me, you're just like, don't talk to me sideways like that. I don't know who you're talking to. That's your pride speaking. Hey, that's my pride speaking too, okay? I'm not trying to personally attack you. I'm not trying to personally attack you, Olamide. I'm just bringing up a few things that you might want to consider. If you like this video, please like, comment, interact with me. Let me know if you agree, disagree, share with other people, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let me know what you think. If there are any topics that you're like, I want you to talk about XYZ, let me know. Hit me up in my DMs, and I'll see you next time for the next rant. Bye-bye.